Hello students, how are you? I hope all of you are fit and fine. Today I am here with explanation of next chapter 4. Before starting chapter, I want to discuss something. Students, whenever things, equipments and house get damaged, we get fix them means repair them. Just like materialistic things, we should also mend our relationship with others. It should not be happen that if we have some conflicts with other people, friends, neighbors and siblings, then we make a barrier in between our relationships with them. It is not good. We should talk about problems and conflicts with that person and try to overcome from these conflicts. Do not make a emotional and physical barrier in relationships. We should maintain good relationships with all people, and if sometimes you feel or face any problem, then talk to them and try to solve this, but do not make any wall of jealousy, competition, and anger with that person. Thus, today's poem Mending Walls is based on this idea. Mending walls. Mending means repairing, and walls means boundary. Here, title of poem is appropriate that we should repair our relationship and don't make any boundary in between relationships. Poem is written by Robert Frost. Robert Lee Frost was an American poet. He born on 26th March 1874 and died on 29th January 1963. His notable works are A Boy's Will North of Boston and The Road Not Taken. Before starting poem, let's take brief idea about poem. The speaker of the poem feels that there is no need for any boundary in between the farm of poet and the farm of his neighbor, as neither of them has anything precious to keep in their lawns. They have only trees. Poet thinks mending the wall is a purposeless activity. He also observes the falling of stones from the wall and comments that even nature is not in favor of this fence. However, his neighbor, being attached to his traditions, asserts that boundaries and distance are essential for relationship to work. Poet tries to convince him, but he again and again says that boundaries make good relationship between. Let's start. Students, look at the picture. Visual A, visual B. What are the first thought that come to your mind when you see the picture? In this picture, these two children are playing with toy with peace and harmony. In this picture, these two children are fighting and screaming over a toy. Suggest three basic differences. This exercise B you will do yourself because all of you have different thinking pattern and answers may vary. Let's read. Now read this poem that talks about barriers between people. Listen, nowadays people create a boundary, means distance, in between relationship and think that this distance is good to maintain for good relationship. Setting of the poem at the site of the wall between the farms of two neighbors, one of whom is the poet himself. There is speculation on how the said wall has come to be broken. There is the talk of rebuilding the wall as well. The poem consists of 46 lines in total. These lines are not divided into stanzas. Here, they are divided into meaningful segments in order to make the poem easier to follow and understand. This poem is written in first person, hence, we can safely assume that the speaker of the poem is the poet. Let's recite the poem. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it and spills the upper boulders in the sun and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. Meaning of difficult word: swell means to expand, spills means to separate, boulders a very large rock, abreast going in the same direction. Listen, in these lines, the poet speculates. Speculates means to assume, anuman lagana, that there must be something in the vicinity. Vicinity means particular area that breaks down the wall again and again. Perhaps the water beneath the ground is frozen and the resulting ice expands to cause cracks in the wall and to make the boulders at its top fall down. The cracks then grows until it is so wide that two people can pass through it side by side and walk in the same direction. See, the work of hunters is another thing. I have come after them and made repair where they have left not one side, one stone on a stone, but they would have the rabbit out of hiding. To please the yelping dogs, the gaps I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made. Listen, in these lines, the poet rejects the idea that the wall could have been broken by hunters. He himself has made repairs after hunters have rearranged the stones to allow rabbits to come out of their holes for their dogs to catch. However, gaps that have now appeared on the wall has been made by something that is unseen and unheard. But at spring mending time, we find them there. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill, and on a day we meet to walk the line and set the wall between once again. The poet says that the wall is between two lands separated by a hill. The farmers who lives on the other side of the hill is informed about the hole. A day is fixed on which they both meet and walk along the wall, each on his side, surveying the damage. We keep the wall between us as we go to each the boulders that have fallen to each, and some are loose and some so nearly balls. We have to use a spell to make them balance. In these lines, the poet says that he and his neighbor each take it upon themselves to restore the boulders that have fallen on his side of the hill. However, this is a difficult task since the stones are not always of the same size or shape. Some are oblong and some are round, and only magic can hold them in their places. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. Oh, just another kind of outdoor games. One on a side, it comes a little more. There, where it is, we do not need the wall. He is all pine, and I am apple orchard. The poet says that his hand, as well as his neighbor's hand, become calloused. Calloused means hardened, rough, as a result of picking up the heavy boulders. It feels like they are playing some sort of game where there is only one opponent. Opponent means Virodhi, each team. It seems like play rather than work because the wall is wholly unnecessary since the two farmers grow a different kind of plants. The poet grows apples and his neighbor grows pine trees. Listen, my apple trees will never get across and eat the corns under his pines. I tell him he only says good fences make good neighbors. Spring is the mischief in me, and I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. Poet describes that he has tried to tell his neighbor that his apple trees will never encroach, means trespass, means take over, control over upon his pines, but that the neighbor remains unconvinced. His logic in putting up the wall is that all good neighbors are separated by strong fences, walls. However, the springtime, the poet feels mischiefs, means bad, and tries to convince his neighbor to agree with him in another way. Listen, why do they make good neighbors, isn't it? Where there are cows, but here there are no cows. Before I built a wall, I would ask to know what I was walling in or walling out. Poet asked his neighbor, why good fences make good neighbor? Fences often sprout some greenery on them and they attract cows. But there are no cows where the wall between their farms has broken down. In fact, the poet would like to know what he is keeping out and what he is protecting by building the wall, and also who might not take kindly to the idea of the wall being put up, and to whom I was like to give offense something there is that doesn't love a wall, that wants it down. I could say elves to him, but it's not elves exactly, and I would rather he said it for himself. I see him there, bringing a stone, grasped firmly by the top, in each hand like an old stone savaged arm. In these lines, the poet again speculates that the wall could have been pulled down by elves. But he doesn't want to tell his serious neighbor that, hoping instead that the neighbor would come to the same conclusion by himself. As the neighbor works on rebuilding the wall, the poet feels that he resembles an uncouth and uncivilized inhabitant of the Stone Age, whose weapons are those very rocks which make up the wall. Listen. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. In these lines, the poet suggests that his neighbor has some kind of kinship with darkness, but not just the darkness that is caused by the shade of trees in the forest. The neighbor cannot disagree with his father in saying that good fences account for peace among neighbors. Student, I hope you have understood the poem. Now I am telling you the central idea of this poem. The central idea of this poem is the wall between the lands of two farmers, broken down by some unknown force every spring, and they must rebuild it. The poet himself does not want the wall there and tries to convince his neighbor of the same. However, his neighbor is sure that fences are required to maintain peaceful relations with neighbors. Now I am telling you the conclusion of this poem. Mending wall is a typical Frost style of writing. It describes something simple only to preach something for more profound. His belief that all men should stand united is a message for all times and all seasons. The fact that he could couch such inspirational message in such uncomplicated verses is what makes Frost one of the greatest American poets of all time. Most of Frost's poems are simple at the surface and have a deeper layer of meaning beneath. Mending Wall is no exception. While the poet seems to be relating a simple tale of rebuilding a broken wall between the land of two farmers, he is talking about a much larger and more profound subject, that division between human beings. Writing as he did at the beginning of the 20th century, he was witness to the drawing of borders between nations. He knows that such borders are drawn to keep out immigrants and for the security of the citizens of the respective nations. However, Frost believes that such reasons have no basis. Cultural intermixing is a good thing, according to Frost, and all nations should strive to acquaint themselves with the cultures of their neighboring countries. Like his neighbor, there are people who would do anything to keep out so called intruders and the to protect their property with all their might. But Frost want to convince all of them to demolish the wall they put up between themselves. He wants there to be an open dialogue can be solved in unison to make the world a better place. Students, I hope you have understood conclusion, central idea and the meaning of the poem. Now I am telling you some literary devices which are used by poet in this poem. Symbolism. The wall may symbolize the mental and physical barriers of the world. Physical barriers make cities, states, countries, and continents. Mental barriers like class, race, gender, etc. divide humans. These barriers create disputes and isolate. However, the wall may also symbolize a tradition or a ritual that once in a while brings the youth and the old together in harmony to work together. Simile metaphor. There are several instances where the poet uses similes and metaphors to draw comparisons. For instance, like an old stone savage armed, simile. He moves in darkness as it seems to me, metaphor. Imagery. Frost has used visual imagery in the poem, such as, and some are loaves and some so nearly balls. He is all pine and I am apple orchard, and we wear our fingers rough with handling them. Now I am telling you the theme of this poem. The theme of the poem is neighbors and the relationship we have with our neighbors. Students, I hope all of you have understood the poem very well. Thanks and have a nice day.